Welcome to the first episode of the Cut the Nets podcast, a production of the Pyramid Sports Network. I am Kevin Barnett. I'm with Brady Perlman,
What's going on?
coming to you both from just outside of Boston, Massachusetts. This is our inaugural episode for Cut the Nets. We thought that it would be a good idea to kind of just set the scene of the landscape of the whole country, go down the top 25 poll to poll, see where teams are at, what we've seen from them, what we haven't seen from them, what we want to see from them, because Christmas is coming up. Teams get a little bit of a break at the end of the year, and then conference play is going to start for most teams. If it hasn't started already, which I think is just the Big Ten, but conference play will start for most teams in January. So I want to start at the head of the snake, Brady, with the top two teams, which I think are the top two teams, but it's definitely not a clear cut race in terms of who's the best and who's the second best.
Yeah, I would say it doesn't matter right now. And because Arizona was two before Purdue lost, there was no reason to then keep them two and then throw Michigan over them. It's pretty negligible between who's better. Arizona recently has had all these wins, but Michigan beats up on teams, also good teams, like I've never seen before. So it's really 1A, 1B right now. They'd be like the number one in the West and number one in the South, or whatever, however the committee and Katz might want to do it.
I
So it
want
really
Andy
doesn't
Katz to
matter.
do it.
Yeah, he'll have some random team up there.
I think people have been asking for Michigan to be the number one team of the country ever since the players era.
Yeah.
And it's been a little bit too big of a jump. And kind of the reason it hasn't happened was up until the Iowa State game, Purdue had done nothing to not be number one.
Yeah, that's
And
what it is. And that's why
Arizona
everyone is there right
is the
now
same.
as well.
They haven't lost. They haven't done anything to not be number one.
After or before that Alabama game, rather, I would have said like, why is Michigan not number one? Because I'm a Michigan fan. I've watched all their games, watched them beat up on Auburn, on Gonzaga, etc. But I mean, they go from freshman all the way to center. Arizona is really, really good right now. Good guard play, good bigs. So it is what it is right now. One and two. Flip them as you wish. First team to lose gets bumped to two, sort of thing.
I think Michigan, their guard play is a little bit shakier than Arizona. I mean, you'd rather have Jaden Bradley with the ball in his
Yeah.
hands than Elliot Cadeau for the most part. But in terms of what's around the point guard, Michigan with Yaxel and with Merez Johnson, they kind of have the potential to be a suffocating team for anybody they face.
Yeah, Mara as well. That team's huge. They'll go three bigs right there. No other team can throw up three bigs like that as long as they're up and down the floor. With the other team, they'll be fine.
So number three, Duke had a little bit of a scare last night. They were losing to Lipscomb for most of the first half. They committed a ungodly amount of turnovers. They ended up winning by a lot. They dominated the second half. I'm assuming it won't move them off of number three coming for next week because they've been so good. But it just shows that these teams are human and crazy things are on the horizon.
Yeah, shout out Tommy Murr. I don't think he's there. He's probably like 38 at this point.
Probably
I'll
not.
look up his LinkedIn later, although he had 5,000 career high school points. They ended up covering and everything. I mean, whatever Shire said, he has the easiest job in the world. Seemed to have worked. It was probably something like get Cam Boozer the ball. I need Cam Boozer to start scoring less so Yaxel can be player of the year. But right now, if he's gonna put up 25 and whatever, he's got Duke in a good spot right now.
Yeah, Cam Boozer, this was probably the worst game he's played, or at least considering the competition that he went up against
Yeah, it's
is
relative. He
interesting.
ended with like a zillion still.
Yeah, it's relative. If you have a bad first half, but still have great stats. Duke kind of needs to show that they can run the table in the ACC. Are you
Yeah.
going to be the team? Are you going to be the team that beats North Carolina and Louisville by 8 to 12 points, or are you going to drop games to those ACC teams? Are you going to have a Virginia loss? Like, what is your conference play going to look like? And are you really one of the top dogs, or are you kind of just in the mix with all like the second tier, B tier teams?
Yeah, I agree. I think Virginia finds their way in March. I think teams like NC State or whoever find their way in March, obviously. Louisville would have been my pick just because I like their age to come out of the ACC, except right now, I didn't like that loss last night. Duke
Yeah,
looks
we'll talk
solid
about that. We'll get
because
to them.
Yeah, I'd pick Duke over UNC. I'd pick Duke over Louisville, and now Duke over like teams like NC State, UVA, who are just like that half tier down. Um, but they got to show it.
They do. They kind of have to prove it a little bit. Four through six is interesting. Um, UConn is sandwiched between these two teams that played a little while ago. Iowa State obviously went in to West Lafayette and beat Purdue on the road by 23. So it knocked Purdue down from one and moved Iowa State up to be that last one seed. And I know it was a big win for Iowa State, but they deserve every bit of credit for being the fourth best team in the country because of how well they're coached and how well they play.
Yeah, they just literally never lose. I don't know what it is. They're old, they're deep. These players on their team right now have been on their team. Otzelberger literally never loses. He's like big and buff and doesn't seem to like scare them, but really does like scare them. They're scared of losing, and that's a good thing to be.
They might have one of the best, definitely the most underrated top three player mix in the country
Yeah.
with Lipsy and Josh Jefferson and Milan, however you say his last name, the
Yeah.
Mama Kolovic, who
Picked them
can
to
just
go super
shoot it.
far last year, then they got banged up. So it's all about
Me
health,
too.
but obviously it's all about health for all these teams. I say them specifically because they're not the young legs that someone like Duke is.
The best thing for me, I think, about Iowa State is the fact that their three best players all do such different things. You've got a lead guard that can guard the other team's best ball handler. You've got a shooter, and then you've got a forward that isn't the biggest guy, but can play inside and inside the arc and be like a rebounding leader. So I think, I mean, it's the way that TJ likes to design these teams on the backs of defense and efficiency, and it definitely worked well enough to beat Purdue.
Yeah, I agree. There's something to be said about it. Obviously, Purdue has it as well. Maybe has it the most, but a true point guard, obviously, as someone that was a point guard, helps everything.
Purdue absolutely has it, and it's interesting with Purdue is it seems as if this game against Iowa State should have never happened because they looked perfect and as advertised for the whole rest of the season. And then they just got suffocated and flat out beat. But every team's going to lose at least once unless you're 2015 Kentucky. So, in terms of looking at Purdue, I feel like it shouldn't really change our
Right.
perception on them, especially because the loss was to Iowa State.
Right. Even that Kentucky team loses to a Frank Kaminsky and Sam Decker every once in a while. But
Right.
number five, UConn, you got just go on a tangent about all of them. I can't talk about Dan Hurley really.
Well, Dan Early, he does a good job, I suppose. Maybe I would
Oh, he
want to play.
does. He does a really
Maybe,
good job. I was watching. It's like Alex Caravan backdoor cuts when it's like, why are you? He slips everything, but they can't figure it. Like the defenses can't figure it out, which means like I'm sitting here from my couch being like, you guys are stupid. He's slipping it again, but clearly there's something.
yeah.
So it is a lot of coaching. They restocked. They look good right now. They have Tamari, whatever, Salas, or
Silas
he's a
Damari.
good, he's a good big guard. They have bigs as long as Terrace Reed stays, some young guys that are very, very raw, Mullins and whatnot, but then they have the old guys like Caravan. So it's a pretty good roster. I don't, not my roster, but it's a pretty good roster.
It's very, it's very deep in terms of their rotation of seven guys or so.
Yeah.
They've got good guards. That was my biggest question mark for them coming into the preseason was, are their guards kind of just stopgap good enough guys, or are they championship team level guards? And they've kind of shown that they have the chance to be both.
Yeah, Malachi Smith runs like a chicken without a head, in my opinion, and then he'll hit like one big random shot. It's like how did that go in? Um, but yeah, they'll be all right. They always are, it seems.
Yeah, they always are. Terrace Reed is very important. It's not really going to show up in the points column, but he is very important because they're
He's a
not the
good
same team with
Wolverine.
him not out there.
Yeah, he's good. He's big.
And then Mullins kind of
Holmes will figure
feels,
it out. He looked very good the other day, but he's letting up like 31 footers that are falling, and then he's also putting up another 31 footer that doesn't fall. And it's like, is Dan Hurley gonna punch you in the face, or is he gonna high five you for the first one, sort of thing?
he feels a little Reed Shepherdy, but as we know, that
Yeah,
could get you to be a top 10 pick in the NBA draft.
definitely. That's what it looks like,
But
right?
Connecticut is definitely in the mix near the top as they always are
Yeah,
and
they're
as it
trending
should
right.
be.
They could find them as a one, find themselves as a one if
Yeah,
stuff goes to par.
if someone slips. In terms of the end of the two seeds, who's seven right now? Is it?
That'd be
Gonzaga or Houston?
Gonzaga right now.
Gonzaga 7. Gonzaga, they're very good. They're obviously well coached, like most of these teams are.
They're also old as hell, like
They're
literally
so
older.
old.
That's what
Braden
you
Huff, Braden
got.
Huff and Graham Ike, I was just looking, both averaging 17 points a game.
Hmm.
So they
And they
have the
probably,
high end,
yeah, they probably combined for 20 rebounds too, right there. 18 rebounds together, like 8 and 10 sort of
probably.
thing.
I wouldn't
Then
be
they have, I
surprised.
mean, Tyon Grant Foster. I don't know how many years they're gonna grant him eligibility, but surely he's playing for something. Like this is my last year, maybe. You would think.
You would think considering it's year 12.
Yeah.
And Ace Wolf is on year 11 as well. Their guards might
Yeah.
be too old in March.
Their guards might be older than the Boston Celtics right now.
It all just feels like it shouldn't quite fit with Gonzaga, at least in the backcourt. But this is how they play their regular seasons. They're in the top
Yeah,
15
that's what they do.
nationally every year, and they
They're not
barely
gonna lose.
lose.
Yeah, they're
No,
not gonna lose.
definitely not in conference play. They'll have the one show me something St. Mary's loss because they have one every year, and
Yeah,
then
exactly. St. Mary's like you're in
everyone
a bowl 6 seed or something this year.
everyone goes in telling so St. Mary's beat Gonzaga one time, and then they lose in the first round.
Right to that 12 seed every year as a
Yeah,
five.
but Gonzaga's had some chances when they really get close to a national championship, especially with the Suggs team.
Yeah.
I don't love it being this team this year.
I just don't know where the star power comes. Like it just and that might be like critical to their star power being big guys, and therefore it's not
Right.
like sidestep threes and whatever. But I don't know. I need like one guy to be like, take me home, kid. Like just go get it. And it's not really
Is
like
is
low post
Town Grant
entry.
Foster that
Yeah.
guy?
It's not like a low post entry to Graham Ike so he can score with the strong hand, the
Yeah,
left and
sir.
everything.
Houston is the last two seed as it shows right now. They're the eighth best team on the AP poll.
I
They
don't
were a little bit higher regarded at the beginning of the year in terms of three, really. Their freshman Flemings has been fantastic. Isaiah Harwell and Chris Sinak are kind of more just chugging along, but also the older guards are not playing as well as we might have expected them to.
Nah, it surprises me a lot. Bless you. Um, Surprises me just in terms of like Flemings is taking Uzan's lunch money here. Like Sharp is not just hitting everything. I was expecting Sharp to be at like 18 a game, like five
Right.
wing three, stuff like that. Instead, it's like Flemings runs the offense. There are big guys down there. I mean, I know Sinak is like a raw big guy in terms of like he's strong, but he doesn't have collegiate strength. He doesn't have NBA strength yet, but he will eventually. But I'm just a little surprised. Like they didn't blow my Mountain Hawks out of the water. Day one necessarily. They went up 10-0. I think Sinak
Hmm.
scored every single point in those 10-0 that little run. Everyone was like, all right,
Hmm.
this score is gonna be 100-0. And I mean, Lehigh's overhit, the spread hit, like all of it. They haven't been punking anyone. They have a loss in there that's, I mean, just not sure, but they'll be good. Well coached, good
Yeah.
roster.
Houston beat, I'm just pulling it up here to look at it. They lost to Tennessee by 3. They beat Auburn by 1. They play Arkansas. When's the 20th? Soon.
Yeah, it's like
Today's the
in a
17th. They play Arkansas this weekend, which
right, yeah,
is a
best of
test
luck.
where are you better than these teams ranked in between 10 and 20, or are
Yeah,
you not? Are
exactly.
you one of them?
Yeah, because they're not gonna fall outside of 20 ever. But it
No.
depends. Right now they're eight. If they're losing to these teams that are in that 12 to 16 range, in their 12 to 16 range, maybe worse even, but they'll be all right in terms of they won't get there because Kelvin Sampson hasn't been able to get there, but they'll get close again, I think.
Yeah. This year's Big 12 was also, I forget when they were in the American, but this is not a Big 12 where Houston has the ability to run the table. It's
Nah.
the best. The Big 12 has been the best conference in basketball for the last 5 years, and it's the
Yeah,
best
that's
it's been this year.
yeah.
So the 9 is Michigan State.
That's the true point guard play I was talking about here.
It is.
Well coached true point guard play, and that's probably that obviously correlates with each other. Then they got big men that have been there that have played. I forget his name. He's like the white guy. He's got like sort of spiky hair.
Yeah, I
Uh,
was just looking at them.
yeah, he can get his. They got stuff all across the board. Cohen Carr jumps through the roof. He's not really like he's your playmaker, but not your game changer. But also he
Not
could
really
change.
your basketball player.
I mean, once he hurdles someone on a fast break and dunks with the left and whatever, helps when you're at home. But no,
Jackson
they're
Kohler,
very well coached. Yeah, Kohler.
Jackson Kohler is their leading scorer. He's averaging
That's what I was talking.
14 and 10. Tom Izzo
Legit.
always takes these dudes that get really no national burn and turns out a very good basketball program out of it.
Yeah, that also just back to the guard play. The team with the guard that wants to go 12 points, 9 assists, only one turnover sort of thing, and getting his 2 steals a game is going to win games.
Yeah,
Because
that's going to do
all
it
9 assists means someone else is scoring. All 12 points means the ball is also finding the basket. Those steals mean extra possessions, stuff like that. No turnovers mean
for
you
sure.
keep your possessions. Fears is good. And
Pierce
he
is
was
really good.
hot back in the day.
Rounding
He's,
out the top 10 is one loss to UConn, BYU,
I mean, they're
but they're
also,
playing, but they're playing really well.
I mean, yeah, but they're not playing really well in the first half. And it's just like, what happens when you get to like the big
The
stage?
Clemson game,
Yeah, I mean, and you got AJ who can score at will. It seems like score at will in the second half, although he's been good. It hasn't really been his fault. The real issue, I'll go quick on them, is they have three guys right there. They have Saunders, they have Rob Wright, and they have AJ. AJ is trying to prove he's pick one. Rob Wright, this is his prove it year because he's a sophomore making a bunch of money. And then Saunders is used to 20 per game. And those three are not working together. Not in terms of like they're not playing basketball together. It's like the three things they all need individually can't go together in a winning group. I don't think they look good right now. They're deep. They could score the hell out of the basketball. So I'm not gonna say they're not going anywhere. But I have a question mark on them right now. Shout out AJ though. That's the first pick in the draft.
yeah, it's you make a good point because Saunders wants to be able to hit catch and shoot threes and run off of off ball screens, and AJ wants to get downhill, and Rob Wright needs the ball in his hands. And there's only one basketball, and only one guy gets to shoot it every time down. So it's an interesting mix between those three. And I get what you mean about AJ. He's up to over 21 points a game now. Rob Wright is almost at 6 assists. So I wonder if Big 12 play will help these three players gel, or if Big 12 play is going to expose kind of the shortcomings of what all these three players individually want to do.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
So it'll be a good challenge for them, especially for AJ, who's got NBA eyes on him. It's a little scary when your best player or perceived leader is a freshman that has question marks in terms of efficiency and shot taking, especially shot making the further he gets outside of the basket. But
Yeah.
they're going to
You've
have
been
a
good so far.
handful of they're going to have handful of tough games in the Big 12, but they do look good. So
Definitely.
two
Who is
ACC teams, 11 and 12, Louisville and North Carolina. We watched Louisville play Tennessee last night without Mikel Brown Jr. And Louisville's problem would not have been fixed with Mikel Brown Jr. They were too small and they got crunched by Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, Tennessee's not they're a big team as I saw, but I didn't know the bigs. I know obviously Ament and everything, but I didn't know the bigs that they were throwing out there necessarily. Estrella as well is big, but he's not really like bumping everyone around. As he's like a
He's not a
four.
Houston big.
It's like you're forward from Massachusetts. What do you want? And I just watched Louisville. Like they thought they were just gonna out age these guys and outshoot these guys, and they did completely the opposite. Age didn't matter at all. They were too little, not hitting shots. If you're too little and not hitting shots, you won't win the basketball game.
Yeah, for sure. And when they play at their quick pace, it's really good. It has been really good because
Yeah,
Brown is electrifying with the ball. You could make an argument for a top five pick. Conwell might be one of the best transfers that we've had this year. He's
definitely.
one of the best shooters in the country, and he's not a small, stringy shooter either. He's got a good body to him. He's got size. So off the backbone of that, that's good. But Louisville needs to figure out something in the interior if they're going to be a real competitor.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
12, North Carolina is basically on the backs of their best player. Caleb Wilson has been outstanding. Visar's been good. The rest of the team, a little bit of a question mark in terms of who's going to show up on what.
No, but their guard play is going to get there once they get Trimble back. That was
It's
unfortunate.
true.
Visor's really, I saw he had like a zillion yesterday, a zillion and a zillion rebounds, whatever. He's been really good. Now that they have big play, they've always had big play actually. But now that they have a balance of what they might need, that on-ball defense will then help the bigs as that translation always does, turns to offense. This is a pretty good team. My biggest issue with them is their coaching, obviously, but
Yeah.
in those huddles.
Yeah. I mean, you wonder if the coaching, if it was a change, could it bring UNC back from always good to always great? When Seth gets back, this is going to be kind of like Iowa State, one of the better three-man units, big threes in the country, where you have a guard, you have a dynamic wing forward combo, and you have a big. And Visar is a unique big who can step out and shoot it, but he's also a force inside on defense. He can do a lot. Is he NBA caliber? Is he young?
Yeah, no, I think he's gonna be NBA. I don't know. I knew him at Arizona. He's gotta be like a junior, I would guess.
Yeah, he could be on the older side, but he kind of fits the whether he's doing it on purpose or not, he fits the prototype for what NBA teams are looking for in their big.
Brad Stevens will call him.
Yeah, and Caleb Wilson is definitely fitting what NBA teams want.
Yeah. Brad Stevens will call him, but hopefully we're not that bad. We being the
Yeah.
Celtics, obviously.
So 13 and also 15, Vanderbilt and
I watched both these
Nebraska,
guys.
two undefeated teams. I'll let you speak on it. Maybe you've watched a little more than me. Two undefeated teams that we were not expecting to be here.
Well, Vanderbilt was just all guard play. I don't even know. They were quick as hell getting
Mm-hmm.
stops, getting steals. I forget I might have watched them play St. Mary's the other day. And they beat up on them by maybe 15, 20 points in a game that I kind of expect them to lose, even though they were ranked like 25 at the time. I don't really look to the number, but rather to the teams playing. And they were literally the best team on the court at all five positions, sort of thing. Quicker, better shooting. Their guards get to their spot. It was pretty impressive. I mean, 13 here. Maybe it's just their brand name that I say I don't think they'll stay, but they could stick
Mm-hmm.
around. They're pretty good the other day.
They're the highest ranked team in the Southeastern Conference right now. It's by
Yeah,
one spot, but they are right now. They would have the automatic qualifier from the SEC.
counts.
Does count. And what do you got on? What do you got on number 15, Nebraska? They're coming off a big win, 3-point win against Illinois.
Yeah, I watched them play Illinois. They had that one dude, I literally forget his name. He played like the three there. I watched him put up 26 in the first half, and he didn't go ice cold because whatever he might have had 8 in the second half. It's not ice cold. That's a 16-point trajectory, but it seemed ice cold. They were getting steals on Illinois. They were straight up on everything. They played pretty good defense. It's just Illinois is a pretty high-motored offense, so they had to score with them, and that's what they did. It
Mm-hmm.
was impressive. Nice big shot at the end of the game. Um, they look pretty good as well. They look pretty scared. They can shoot the hell out of the basketball. They're smart out there. Um, so we'll see with them as well. Obviously, their brand name. They're not the Big Ten team that I anticipate to be 15 pushing New Year's, but we'll see.
Yeah, these two teams, they've looked good. They, in terms of the quality of their wins, obviously Nebraska has a great win against Illinois. The rest of it is a little lackluster, so that kind of leaves the question, of course, when these teams play in their conferences, two of the best conferences in college basketball, how are they going to look? How does
Yeah,
Nebraska look against Michigan? How do they look against Purdue? How does Vanderbilt look against Arkansas or Alabama or
definitely.
Florida or Tennessee? Like these teams, for the sake of their stories and their seasons, I hope they can put up good games against those teams and stick around and give us something to talk about. But you kind of tread lightly with these undefeated teams that get high ranks just for the sake of the fact that they're undefeated before they play in conference.
Yeah, both teams will make it work as well. I mean, starting 11 and 0 definitely helps as not your big bad team because that means you can have 7, 8 losses down the road, and that's a
Mm-hmm.
23, 25 win team, whatever you want to be. And then you're there. Whether it's the 4 seed, the 6 seed, the 8 seed, you're
Mm-hmm.
in there if you need to be. If you end up getting like picking up some losses along the road just because you're in the Big Ten or the uh the SEC rather.
Wrapping up the four line, I suppose, the top 16, there are two SEC teams. Arkansas is at 14 and Alabama is at 16. Now, Arkansas has maybe the best freshman backcourt of this year and of years in the past with Malik and Darius Acuff, and Trevon Brazil's playing a little bit. It's obviously a Coach Calipari team, which in this decade we look at under a microscope in terms of what their ceiling is on the court. But they have good players, and they're in the mix right now to be a three or a four.
Yeah, their ceiling's Darius Acuff, in all honesty. Uh, Brazil stretches the floor, hits every single three-pointer from the top of the key. Carter Knox is good. Yeah, they're a pretty good team. I like their guard play. I like how they start the offense. Acuff's been very impressive. Acuff wants that first point guard off the board spot, I think. I'll just say that now. I know Mikal Brown thinks he's safe there at like that 5 or 6 spot. Acuff wants it there. They're a
He's
bunch
not
of good
far
guards.
off.
No, he's definitely not. They're a bunch of good guards. Arkansas looks pretty good. They're young. I know they're all sophomores, juniors. Is DJ Wagner might even be on that team and whatnot.
Yeah.
Um, Players like that, they're gelling right now. They have 2 losses. That's inevitable. But yeah, they look fine right now.
Alabama is led by a guard that is a sophomore, but outpaces most of the point guards that we have talked about in this video. LeBaron Philon is averaging over 20 points, and he is an offensive leader.
Yeah, I mean he's the freshman of the. I mean he's the non-freshman of the point guards that might run and want that 5 pick as well. He's so gifted.
He's a lottery pick.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's got in Holloway next to him. That being said, they seem to put up 100 points and lose every game. And they're playing a big bad schedule right now. So with a grain of salt, of course, they have losses to teams like Arizona. But still, I'm not thrilled that they haven't been able to get some of these wins. I don't like 3 losses in 10 games. But Phillips looks amazing. Fallon, I mean.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sold on Alabama just for the sake of Philon's help is good, but it's not that good. And Holloway is a capable second guard in the SEC, but he's not a championship second guard in the SEC.
Yeah, they're supposed to be big until they get out rebounded by Arizona, stuff like that just has question marks around.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll see how those two SEC teams do in conference play. Maybe Alabama and Arkansas can jump Vanderbilt. Maybe Tennessee will jump Vanderbilt. I know they were 20th on Monday morning as the polls went in, but we could talk about this 17 to 20 range, the 5 seeds. Kansas, Illinois, Texas Tech, and Tennessee. This feels like 4 teams that all have the possibility to move up throughout the rest of the year.
Yeah, I mean, Kansas might have to, they won't, but Darren might have to look forward. If his hamstring, I watched the game the other day, he was last to get up on the bench every single time, always using the Theragun, always downing water just to not play the last 3 minutes. Obviously, it's not a cop out. He's hurt. He might need to be shut down for a little bit. I watched Melvin Council Jr. put up infinite points. He shoots like 18% from three, hit maybe 10 of them. It was unreal. That's not sufficient in the long run, but other guys will step up for them. They're Bill Self run team, never loses too many games. I would say they might get hit with a few losses between here and there. Maybe a
I think so
question
too.
mark when we get to March, especially around if surrounding if Darren Peterson plays or not. But they're pretty good. They'll be all right. They have Badinga from the strong side under the basket.
They've been getting cute playing around Badunga when
Yeah,
Peterson's out,
always.
which is fun for now, but that's not really going to be a position of strength that they want to go through going forward. But I agree with you that Peterson's probably going to have to take some time for at least the next 2 weeks, maybe even the next month, to just not play basketball and come back for the home stretch and show everyone who he is.
I agree.
I really like this Illinois team. I know they lost to Nebraska right at the end, but Nebraska's undefeated and they lost by 3 right at the end. I think they have some shortcomings, of course, but in terms of their bigs with the brothers and with Boswell and Stojakovic, I think they have kind of a dynamic crop of talent that if they get the right path can make a lot of noise in a tournament.
Yeah, they have good freshman play as well, good European play always with them. I think they're just too obsessed with offense and not obsessed enough with defense. I'd have to imagine Underwood has them just sitting on defense every single game. They give up a lot of points, but they score it right back. So it's a recipe for some wins, not always wins, and therefore, can you put five together in March, six together in March? I don't know, but you could put a few together because they can get to 100 like anyone.
Mhm. And then Texas Tech coming in at 19 right now. Their best two players are as good as any team's best two players. But what happens after that? You need a rotation of eight or sometimes nine in these big games near the end of the season. And JT Toppin and Christian Anderson have this team on their back, but they've carried them to 7-3 and they've carried them to number 18.
Yeah, I watched it the other day. It was only them. This was it must have been on Saturday or Sunday, or Saturday actually, obviously. They were just going back and forth with who scores, and if one of them didn't score, they gave one up on the other end, sort of thing. I believe last night some kid had like 30 on their team. I'm not familiar with who he is. But if we're not familiar with who he is, that's probably not like the role player. A
Yeah.
bunch of these good teams play bad teams. So just add another win to their win column. But I need some depth there if I'm gonna pick them. Two great players. But I need a third, fourth, fifth good player on the team to help out.
They're also a candidate, kind of like BYU, also like Kansas a little bit, to get exposed in the Big 12. All these
Mhm.
teams have shortcomings, and they're going to be playing each other and also playing three teams better than them with Houston, Iowa State, and Arizona. So it'll be interesting to see what the Texas Tech supporting cast looks like and if anybody shows themselves in conference play. Tennessee is number 20. They will not be number 20 next week after just beating 11th ranked Louisville last night. They
I would
looked very good. They kind of took advantage of the fact that they were a bad they were a bad matchup for Louisville because of their size and their length.
Yeah, there's a bunch of three-loss teams right here. Some of them will keep three losses for a while as they bump up the win column, and some of them will get hurt by their conference. I assume Tennessee will do pretty well in conference play, even though it's a tricky
They
conference. They have a
always do.
good roster. They have actually very good guard play. It's not like how they used to have with Sakai, but Gillespie's got them going well.
Gillespie's good. And Nate Ament, yesterday we saw it maybe more than some other games in the past, starting to look a little bit more comfortable and starting to get better with his shot making. We're having all these question marks about Nate Ament. He's still averaging over 16 points a game. So it's not like it's a complete disaster, but he hasn't so far been the freshman that we all thought he was going to be. But I think it would be unfair to say that it's never going to happen this season.
Yeah, if he helps them, if he continues to help them win, his stock will keep rising. He could find himself in that fifth pick area.
Yeah, he still could. And I think even as it plays now, just with his size and his NBA build and the shot making that he showed in high school, I think top 10 is probably still definitely a safe bet for him.
I would definitely guess so. I'd put money there.
Auburn is number 21. With the exodus of Bruce Pearl, things have looked a little bit different. There's been a little bit of an exposing of what Todd Pettiford really is.
He's just streaky. He'll go
Yeah,
0 points one game, he'll go 30 points the other. It's all from the left. He's a bit small for these
he is
big
small.
guards. You throw him at the one, and then you throw them against Kansas, and Darren Peterson's matched up against him. Not even defensively praising Darren Peterson, but that's just a huge height difference. There's stuff like that. They got big guard. They have a bunch of wings. I don't know much about their big guys, but they'll be all right. Not great, not good. I probably won't pick them. Might have them as my March upset.
I
One of
probably
them.
won't.
Yeah, Michigan beat up on them pretty good the other day.
They've
That's the only.
they've played one hell of a schedule. They lost to Houston by only one. They lost to Michigan by 30, and they lost to Arizona by 29. Now, those are the two best teams in the country, but if you're also one of the better teams in the country, you want to keep it close. And they didn't. And they played Purdue on Saturday.
Yeah,
Saturday. So they get another chance to try and see if they're going to keep it close.
yeah, they won't, but should have lost to Bethune
Well,
Cookman the other day as well. I mean, the other
that's
day,
true.
but
St. John's is right behind them at
yeah,
22.
they should well. It's just they have the same thing Illinois does, just a lesser, more flashy wannabe offense where they think they can score with anyone and they can score with anyone, but they forget to get stops. So the games that they're not scoring with the other team, missing shots, stuff like that, they're gonna lose. They're dropping these games. That's why
Mm-hmm.
they have 10 losses already with a super deep roster. that did very well last year. Obviously, different roster, but still Patino.
The thing about St. John's that I think will help them over the next couple months is they have Zuby Ejiofor, who, other than maybe Terrace Reed, can take over any Big East conference game with his athleticism and his size, and he'll outmatch most of the other centers that he's going to go up against, which can help them get a good conference record, but it kind of won't alleviate the questions of how will these guards do a March Madness in the second weekend of the tournament.
Definitely.
So just we're almost at time here. Got about 2 minutes wrapping up the top 25. Virginia's 23, Florida is 24, who have been just slipping woefully to start the year, and Georgia is 25.
Yeah, I'll go brief on Virginia. They hit shots, they play on ball defense. It's pretty fun to watch. Eventually, we'll see them mixed into one of those Saturday slates. With Florida, it's literally so painful to watch their guards play.
Terrible.
They both think they should be like 25 and 10 a game, and they can't make a basketball shot. So I don't even know. One of my buddies saw Coach Golan on the side of the road the other day, said you got to bench Xavier. I don't know if he's 100% the issue, but he really, really helps the issue there.
Hmm. And Boogie Fland has kind of always been inefficient as a guard, even with his time at Arkansas. It's a new Calipari guard thing to not be very efficient. But Xavier wasn't in the Ivy League, but he gets to the SEC, and he has not even been close to up for the challenge. The good thing for Florida is that their front court is still one of maybe the best, maybe not better than Michigan, but one of the best couple in the country.
Definitely. Xavier's tween step backs gotta just
Yeah,
we gotta stop with that 30 footer. Let's go to Georgia
yeah,
real quick as time runs out. I know nothing
yeah,
about them, but
yeah.
they
Me
jump
neither.
around.
They're here on 25. Maybe it should be USC or UCLA next week. Maybe it'll be different. But that's time for us. We ran through the top 25 here on Cut the Nets, and we hope you enjoyed, and we will see you next week.
Thank you guys.